When they arrived, the whole village was gathered. The tension in the air was palpable. A sea of faces, anxious and expectant. Jeno stepped forward and held the moonstone high for all to see. The ancestors. I am Tariq's father, and it is my destiny to lead this village, he said. Jeno's words were followed by cheers and applause. The elders nodded their heads in agreement with Jeno. Their faith in the wisdom of their ancestors was confirmed when Amina walked towards Jeno with Tariq in her arms, and they locked eyes. And in that moment, all the difficulties seemed to melt away. When Jeno held his son for the first time, the village erupted in joyous celebration. Amina knew this was the beginning. A new chapter in the village's history had begun. But the real work was to raise a child and make the village prosper. With the guidance of the moonstone and the wisdom of their ancestors in their hearts, they were ready to face any challenge. Several months had passed since the day Jeno was proclaimed Tariq's father and leader. A sense of peace and prosperity had settled over the village, at least until that day. In the shade of their family's hut, behind a thick baobab tree, Amina overheard a quiet conversation. You have done well, Jeno. The village expects nothing, and the prophecy seems to have come true, whispered the raspy voice of Nia the seer. We deceived the people who trusted us, and I am raising a son who is not really mine, Jeno said. But you will be a wise and kind ruler. Isn't that what is best for the village? I call it a benevolent deception, Nia replied, her voice eerily relaxed. Amina looked at Tariq innocently, her heart betrayed and her trust bitten by an insidious snake. The villagers had been deceived, but they deserved the truth, especially when it came to the future leader and his son Tariq. But how could he uncover this conspiracy without stirring up the village? Amina had to tread carefully. The moonstone, the symbol of Jeno's supposed legitimacy, would be the key to this secret. While the village slept through the storm, Amina prepared her plan. A plan that would reveal Tariq's true father. But first she had to be sure of the moonstone's authenticity. For the moonstone, if subjected to a ritual known only to the most enlightened sages, its mystical power could still point to the true father. And so Amina set out under the cover of night to consult the only person outside the village who could help her, the hermit sage of the ebony forest. Amina's journey through the ebony forest was full of risks, hidden traps, the ever-threatening darkness. But a mother's determination knows no bounds, especially when her child's future is at stake. Amina finally reached the secluded home of the sage, who had the wisdom of centuries in his eyes. The sage welcomed her. I have been waiting for you, Amina. The forest has noticed your condition, he said. She told the sage everything: Tariq's birth, the journey to the sacred mountain, and the overheard conspiracy between Jeno and Nia. Amina said, I am searching for the truth. Can the moonstone reveal Tariq's real father? The sage first stroked his beard. The moonstone is an ancient relic of truth, he said. Its power can be manipulated, but not corrupted. There's a ritual I know of. It can cleanse the stone of all deception. Hope shone in Amina's eyes as she listened attentively to the sage. On the night of the new moon, the moonstone, bathed in the sacred waters of the Whispering Lake, will shine only in the hands of the true father. Filled with hope again, Amina thanked the hermit sage and returned to the village. There was a gleam of determination in Amina's eyes. She took the moonstone from its hiding place and prepared it for the truth ritual. If she succeeded, the whole village would know the truth. But if she failed, she would risk not only her own reputation, but also the peace, harmony in the village. As the new moon approached, Amina felt the clock ticking. With God's help, she had managed to sneak the moonstone out of her shelter. Now, hidden under the floorboards of her hut, it pulsed as if aware of the role it would soon play. The night of the new moon finally arrived. Tariq was sleeping safely and Jeno was at a council meeting. Amina seized her opportunity, took out the moonstone, and set off for Whispering Lake. Heart pounding in sync with her steps, Amina reached the lake and began the ritual. She dipped the moonstone into the water and recited the ancient spells the hermit sage had taught her. As the last syllable left her lips, the moonstone glowed with a white light, illuminating the dark waters. As the villagers danced and sang, Amina revealed the moonstone. Everyone was eager to witness the show. Amina said let each potential father hold the stone and announced that Tariq's true father would activate the light. Each of the men grasped the moonstone, but the stone's light remained dim. Finally, it was Jeno's turn. The crowd held its breath. Jeno held the stone, and it trembled but did not fully light up. The crowd began to murmur, confusion and bewilderment turning into shouts. Before anyone could speak, a sound exploded from behind. There was a strange mixture of fear and excitement. Amina raised her gaze to meet Jeno's, and her eyes shifted to the moonstone, which trembled violently and then went black, breaths filling the air. Jeno's face turned ashen. His eyes met the crowd. The silence was broken by Nia's wild laughter as they realized that Jeno was not the real father. "You have seen," she said after the failed ritual, "that even the best laid plans falter against the will of the spirits." With the village in disbelief, the elders called an emergency council meeting. Seer Nia was the first to speak, her voice full of regret. "My villagers, we are entangled in a web of deception." The spirits spoke through the moonstone. "Jeno is not the true father, but this must be a time of awakening, not division," she said. The council became a place of debate and accusation. Finally, the elder wisdom of Chief Elder Mabaka Rose commanded enough silence. Mabaka Rose thundered, "The ancestral spirits are not pleased with our folly. We must seek the truth and not let division tear us apart." The sage turned to Amina and said that he had summoned the spirits and revealed the truth. "What do you suggest we do now?" Amina's voice was firm. "Every man in the village should take an oath at the river of truth and declare their paternity. The river will reveal the true father as a divine witness." At the first light of dawn, the village gathered by the river of truth. The men took the oath their ancestors had taken. Finally, it was Jeno's turn. His eyes met Amina's. Jeno dipped his hand into the river and recited the oath. Meanwhile, Amina watched him with an expression full of mixed emotions. The crowd waited anxiously for a divine sign. Just then, a scream rose from the back of the crowd. All eyes turned to Mazi, a young man. The water around his hand turned to shining gold. Old Mabaka said that Mazi was Tariq's true father, as proclaimed by the river of truth. As Mazi hesitantly stepped forward, Amina's eyes met his and she saw the glimmers of honesty and sincerity she had missed. The revelation that Mazi was the real father shook everything to its core. As Mazi approached Amina and the baby, murmurs echoed through the village. His eyes were full of tears. Elder Mabaka stepped forward and everyone fell silent. The river of truth has spoken. Mazi is the father, and we must respect this divine decision. He looked at Jeno and Nia. Those who led us astray will face the council. A new era was about to begin for Mazi, Amina, and baby Tariq. That evening, the council of elders met to discuss the fate of Jeno and Nia and came to a decision. Jeno was stripped of his title and charged with public service. Nia was banished from her position as a seer. Both of them appeared before the village to apologize for their deception. So in a village shaken to its foundations, dawn dawned brighter, wiser, and full of promise. The village was empowered by the irreplaceable virtues of truth and unity. Amina, Mazi, and Tariq were on the threshold of a promising new life, their hearts filled with the enduring wisdom that truth, once uncovered, has the power to heal and herald a brighter future.